Today we are going to go over Lesson 11.5, Day 2. We are going to focus on reviewing box and whisker plots, and then we will talk about how to find outliers. So to start off, make sure that your data set is in order from least to greatest. This one is in order for us already. So we can find our 5 key points. Our minimum is 3. Our maximum is 24. Our median is going to be 8. Now to find Q1, let's focus on the numbers to the left of our median, so 3 and 7. To find the median of those two numbers, we can take 3 plus 7 divided by 2, which gives us 5. Now we'll do the same thing for the numbers to the right of our median. 13 plus 24 divided by 2, which gives us 18.5. Now that we have found those key points, we can find our interquartile range by taking Q3 minus Q1. So that would be 18.5 minus 5, which equals 13.5. Okay, make sure you've got your number line numbered. This one doesn't quite work to count by ones, so I went ahead and counted by twos. So once you've done that, you can put your 5 key points onto your number line. We've got our minimum at 3, Q1 at 5, our median at 8, Q3 at 18.5, and our maximum at 24. So go ahead and create your box. And then connect your minimum and maximum for your whiskers. Okay, now let's move on to talking about outliers. So outliers are extreme values that are larger or smaller than the other data. So you might have just one outlier. It is possible to have multiple outliers. They have a big impact on the mean. And we will use the formulas below to find the outliers, if any exist. So we're going to use our last example with that same data set, 3, 7, 8, 13, and 24. And these are the formulas that we're going to use right down here. So if x is less than our first quartile minus 1.5 times our interquartile range, that would make it an outlier. Or if x is greater than our third quartile plus 1.5 times our interquartile range, then that would be an outlier. So either in this section we're talking about or this section. We're trying to figure out what are those values which make it too small or too large. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So let's start with this first formula. X is less than, our Q1 up above was 5, and our interquartile range was 13.5. So we'll say x is less than 5 minus 1.5 times 13.5. So go ahead and simplify the part to the right in your calculator. And you should get x is less than negative 15.25. Okay, so then if you want to go ahead and write that number on this line. So we're saying anything that is less than that negative 15.25 would be considered an outlier. If you take a look at our data set, these 5 numbers, none of these 5 numbers are less than negative 15.25. So that means so far we do not have an outlier. So now let's do the same thing for the second formula. So this time we're going to say x is greater than Q3. Take a look up here. Our Q3 was 18.5, and again our interquartile range is 13.5. So we say x is greater than 18.5 plus 1.5 times 13.5. So go ahead and put that in your calculator. And we get x is greater than 38.75. So that number can be written over here. Okay, so if you take a look at your data set again, these numbers, 3, 7, 8, 13, and 24, none of those numbers are greater than 38.75. So we do not have any outliers for this data set.